My name is Mike Dayton. I'm a Chief Revenue Officer for Shockoe. We are a digital mobile app development company and work with a lot of big brands, have for the past 12 years, and just helping the companies, brands connect with the consumers and help with the employee experience and productivity as well. And I've been in software in high tech my entire career, so my stuff's kind of boring compared to the brand stuff.
It's not boring at all.
You're right. It's actually not.
I will ask you questions about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how about yourself, Fernando?
So I'm Fernando Machado. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for NotCo. NotCo is a food tech startup valued at $1.5 billion. Started in Chile, and what we do is we use an AI that we developed to create elevated plant-based products, plant-based food. I have been with NotCo for about a year now. Before that, I was CMO for Activision Blizzard. Before that, I was CMO for RBI, which is Burger King, Popeyes, and Tim Hortons. And before that, I had a lifetime of Unilever. I'm Brazilian, that's why I have this funny accent. I'm currently living in Miami, and today here with Brand Innovators in Vegas.
Very cool.
So tell me about some projects that you guys done. Well, I'm sure you said you work with some cool brands. I don't know if it's confidential or not, but would love to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we work across a handful of industries. Sports and entertainment happen to be one of them. So we've done work for the PGA Tour. We've done work for FIFA. We've got some projects actually in the works right now for another big sporting brand. But we also work a lot with grocery, with banks. So we work across industry sectors. But there is a commonality of companies with big brands trying to make a connection digitally with their consumers.
Through the app.
So
it's always a branded app.
Always a branded app. And sometimes we're doing the full end-to-end strategy to development and support. Sometimes our clients just need us for a particular piece, like maybe strategy or maybe just the build. But and we're doing a lot with getting more and more into AI and immersive experience with AR, so that's enhancing the experience.
Yeah. So. How would you say is the most common, when a client approaches you guys, is hey, we are trying to figure out our app strategy, or is more hey, we have an idea of what we want to do and we just want help building it?
Well, it's a little bit of both. Sometimes our clients will come to us, they've got a 2-star app and they need to get it to a 5-star app. So we're really good at helping take 2 stars to 5 stars, because as you know, in technology piece becomes important, especially if you're a big company with lots of legacy systems.
People just don't download that.
Yeah. So we'll do that, and in other cases we'll do. A lot of our customers need help with reimagining the customer journey in the context of their app, and so we'll help them do customer journey mapping and build out the actual app framework and strategy, even if they go off and build it themselves. But we're pretty flexible in that we oftentimes just become an extension of our clients' internal teams.
Yeah.
As opposed to more of a traditional agency-based, where they want to have everything in a black box and control it.
Yeah. That's really cool. What do you think was one of the most exciting projects that you guys have done? I'm Brazilian, so I'm curious to ask about FIFA, but I will let you choose.
Yeah, actually, FIFA, the sports ones are always fun because the brands are so recognizable. I think getting the PGA app to, really enhancing their monthly active users up over 1 million from where they were. I think seeing the big step change in improvements from before Shockoe to after Shockoe, those are the most exciting ones. But working with grocery stores maybe sound boring, but we work with one called Publix, who's one of the best ones. Yeah, one of the best.
I live in Miami.
You live in Miami. I live in Tampa Bay. So yeah, we all know Publix really well. So being able to work a big brand like that and support that as a small company is it's exciting and fun and very rewarding.
Publix is huge. I love the picture of Messi in the Publix in Miami. Probably the only place where he can go and do groceries properly.
Probably
without people. Well, not anymore, I guess. But in the beginning,
think he can go anywhere without people paying attention to him.
Yes, it's true. It's true. And have you done CPG stuff too? No.
Yes, we've done quite a bit of CPG, because the CPG and the grocery are kind of tightly intertwined, and and a fair number of our brands are. I'm trying to actually go think about them, because we actually have for a relatively small company that we punch way above our weight class. We've got, I think if we went back and added up our customers over the past 12 years, and we have done work either directly or indirectly for roughly 10% of the Fortune 500 companies.
It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
And how long have you been there?
I've been there, I've worked with the company on and off for about the last 10 years, but I joined about 3 months ago because I've known Alex and Edwin, the founders of Shockoe, probably for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you guys get into contact and get part of Brand Innovators?
Well, Alex and Edwin have been doing Brand Innovators for quite some time because it's a great place to come and network, with people like yourself who are actually, got the brand vision, but then need to get to the last mile. I call it the last mile of that brand activation with your actual customers, building the loyalty, building the engagement. And that's, these types of events help us connect with people like you in a it's more of just a networking type environment versus, a sales pitch type environment. So we like these types of events and Brand Innovators puts on. Yeah,
my first Brand Innovators was 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago. Like I was still working in Unilever. I was based in London, and Unilever has a beautiful office, is the headquarters in Blackfriars. And there was a Brand Innovators event, and Mark, that's when I met Mark, and we were doing some cool stuff with Dove, which was the brand I was leading. I was one of the leaders of the brand back in the day. This is 2012, 2013. And we did a really cool campaign called Real Beauty Sketches. This is 10 years ago. Yeah. And Mark invited me to come and present. And since then, I've attended infinite numbers of Brand Innovators events. I think it's a great opportunity to meet other marketeers, to meet companies like yours. You know what I mean? In a nice, fun, engaging environment. I always feel that you can come and just walk in to watch a fireside chat or to watch a keynote. You will leave better off. I think it's such a great experience.
No, you're right. As an agency working with a lot of companies across multiple industries, we are somewhat spoiled in that we get slices of experiences with different types of companies and with different types of challenges. And what's always never fails to amaze me is a customer who is outside of the industry, but they're asking about something that we did for something completely outside of their industry, but it applies to them.
We all suffer from this similar problems.
Yeah, no, you're right. Especially as it relates to technology and making apps responsive and providing a great user experience.
Yeah, I worked a lot on the mobile app when I was at RBI for the mobile app from Burger King, and then later on from Popeyes. I was not as involved with the Tim Hortons one. But I can totally relate to the things that you're saying, in terms of a strong push to improve reviews of the app, making sure that the app has a clear value proposition, that the UX is easy to navigate, that the loading time doesn't take forever. Yeah. It's one detail after another, which in the end makes a big impact in terms of active usage, or people who drop off. There are people who never even open the app. That they download the app and don't even open the app. Yeah. So it's a continuous cycle of creating something that you think is going to work, but keep improving upon it and seeing the numbers go up, which is quite exciting.
Yeah, we love to see the numbers go up. And some of the more boring aspects, and I say boring because they're the behind the scenes pieces, the technology integrations, especially when you're a company like Burger King.
POS system.
Yes, I mean, you have so many systems, and the latency of those integrations can ruin an app. You can have the best UI, but have a horrible UX.
It takes 10 seconds to load.
Exactly, 10 seconds. That app's...
It's an infinite amount of time.
I'm deleting the app off my phone if it takes 10 seconds. But I'm curious what you think in terms of where, as from a generational perspective, the digital natives now kind of growing up, and
it's crazy.
The expectations are so much higher, right?
Yes.
When I first got my iPhone, I'm like, wow, I can talk on a phone. I can talk on a phone and have browse the internet. That was a big deal with the advent of the iPhone.
Me, you talk about a digital native, and the story that comes to mind to me is we have 4 little guys, like 2 boys, 2 girls, and we have another boy coming. Yes, we're batshit crazy, and it's the last one, I promise. But like the funny thing is that we have like this big screen TV in the living room. I love a large TV. I love watching soccer, and it's just better if the TV is larger. And we watch a lot of YouTube because the kids love the, like, there are so many YouTube things that they love, like
Right.
some random stuff.
Right.
And the funny thing is that at the bottom right of my TV, it's full of fingerprints and hands.
They think it's a touch
They
screen.
touch the skip button all the time. Like on the TV, it doesn't happen, like it doesn't work, right?
But that's their expectation.
Yes, but like that's the point about being digitally native. They expect that the TV will be touch screen, and that if they click on the skip button or skip ad or whatever, or even like when you are on Amazon Prime, that you have the carousel of stuff,
Yep.
and the Bluey comes up with all the episodes from Bluey. And if you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about. They go and slap the TV, like no touching, no touching.
Touching.
But that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, like I am from the time where having a remote control was a luxury. You know what I mean? Like
I was the remote control
Yeah,
in my
my
house.
parents,
My
yes.
dad says, "Go change the channel."
Yes, no, exactly.
Yeah.
And it would be like this, right? It
Exactly.
wouldn't be a button. Yeah, I totally remember that. So it's a completely different consumer.
Yeah.
You know, like and many of the things that we had to learn for them is like comes almost like embedded on their DNA. You know, like my between 3 and 4 years old, like I think he's better at surfing on the iPad or playing games. Like he's doing code classes, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and he doesn't even speak like properly.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine that? Like, not even 4-year-old doing classes of coding. It's like mind blowing,
Yeah.
you know. Like, so I think that the expectation would be infinite times higher for these folks.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's interesting you talk about coding. So in our business, we develop, right? We're software developers. We're also designers and strategists. But when it comes to coding, you have now like no code, low code platforms, which you can make an argument they're not as low code or no code as people like to market them as. However, with thinking about AI and in coding and the commoditization of it's just the expectation is that it's not too far away. We at Shockoe believe it's not too far away where apps will kind of be created on the fly, dynamically via AI, right? So the app will be even more personalized to the human.
Yeah.
And it might not even be an app. It might be, it looked like a, messaging on your iPhone that becomes an app dynamically.
Yeah.
Right. How do you as a brand marketer stay ahead of those trends and continue to connect with your audience, especially the ones with the higher expectations from a digital engagement?
I think that like in anything that you do, and I think that's even more true when it comes to technology, you need to have a little bit of space, budget, time, people to experiment with new things. I wouldn't necessarily, and it's subject to what I would say, but I would not necessarily put all my eggs in the same basket of like the new thing, but I think you need some room to experiment. Yeah. And when I say I wouldn't put all my eggs on the new thing, it's because I'm probably not the best in terms of predicting what's going to succeed or not succeed. I think there is so much learning that will happen like on the journey, you know what I mean? Like, so to me, it's like more important than taking a massive bet on something is for you to create space, budget time, people, resources to experiment with different things. When it comes to apps and any platform that you are trying to provide a service or trying to make life of the consumers better, I think it's very important for you to understand the consumer and to have a clear what's the value proposition of that. I think that not anymore, but I think in the past, like we wanted to have an app or we wanted to have a website even before apps existed because we felt that our brand had to do it.
It was FOMO. It was a FOMO thing.
You know what I mean? Like, and there was not much of like And I'm guilty of that. I'm talking this is like more than maybe like 20 years ago, like where you would almost like create a campaign, create a website to go with the campaign. You know, I know that this is like very old school and no one does that anymore. But there was not much thinking on what value you're adding to that consumer. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and I think that's really key. Like, and then I think that you need to use technology to either increase that value or make it even easier for the consumer,
Right.
like, or to be present for the consumer in different parts of his or her routine or different times, you know, because for instance, today, I think there is a space for an app, you know, but if I'm on WhatsApp and I can fulfill a functionality with my bank to check like how much is on my accounts with a WhatsApp message and I'm already there, that's easier than going to the app, scanning my face,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, so I think that technology, the different channels can help make it more accessible, like what your value proposition is to people.
I think that's an excellent point. I think technology, for technology's sake, is a losing proposition.
Yeah.
It's a solution looking for a problem.
Yeah.
But when you take a customer-centric approach, it always works better. The best technology is the one that people they're not paying attention to.
Yes.
They're interacting with their brand and they're having an experience. They're not thinking about
It's the
app.
same for UX.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I remember, like, I was a big fan of Uber as a service, right? Yeah. And I remember someone asking me, like, how is the UX for Uber? And I couldn't draw it, you know, because it's so intuitive that I don't even think when I'm using the platform.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
You're not saying what button do you hit,
No,
go up there.
I don't remember.
It just works.
happens.
Yeah,
You know
it
what I
just
mean?
works.
Which is the best. Like, I remember when I was on Activision Blizzard, and this is like a little bit over a year ago, when no one was really talking about AI as much, and everyone was talking about metaverse. And I remember everyone coming to me saying, like, we need to have the presence of our brand on the metaverse. And I was like, well, first of all, this metaverse thing, like, I used to play Second Life, so it's not new, right?
Yeah.
And second, like, why do you need to be present there? Like, what value are you adding? Like, I remember like someone saying like, I work for a bank and we want to create a bank on the metaverse. And to me, it's the classic example. Like, I don't want to go to your bank in the real world. Why the hell I would want to go on the metaverse?
I don't want a Minecraft version of the same bank that I don't want to go to begin with.
Exactly, right? So, but it's very common for people to not think that way.
Yeah.
For people to, you said it better, like you have a solution, you're looking for the problem, right? I mean, you need to do the other way around, like find a problem and then you articulate what the solution is.
Use the technology to solve real problems and help people better connect with your brand.
Yeah.
As opposed to showcasing the technology. There's a time and a place for showcasing, but that's really more, I think, for stimulating new innovation and new thought.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can go off the rails, but I liked your point about it's about the journey and leave time and space for experimentation.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a jazz band. You can hear some jazz that it goes free form, and sometimes it can just sound awful, but then other times it just sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And it's all kind of ad hoc and unpredictable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go. So we are like talking about technology, right? At NotCo, we also it's a tech company basically, like that creates food. And what we do is we have this AI that we developed. We call it Giuseppe. It's called Giuseppe because mid-50s there was this Italian painter called Giuseppe Archimboldo that used to do these portraits with vegetables and fruits. You probably saw one at some point. Yeah. So it's basically creating art with plants. So that's why the AI is called Giuseppe. Like
Very
fun
nice.
fact. And in the beginning we used to take like the animal target, like a beef burger, do a whole analysis on the product, chromatography, physical properties, all that good stuff, feed all that to the AI. The AI would propose 5 recipes. The chefs would prepare, the chefs and the R&D team would prepare the product, taste, and give feedback to the AI. Hey, number 3 is the best. The AI would propose another 5 recipes, and we would do that round and round until it converges to the
That is
to the
just
target.
absolutely remarkable.
Yeah.
I was reading a little bit about NotCo and how you're using AI to come up with protein mixtures that resemble a certain
Yeah.
flavor, right?
It is not obvious, like the combination.
Yeah.
Like
Now, did you do this when you were at Burger King? Was that the Impossible Burger? That was the big deal with Impossible Burger. Was it
We
tasted
did.
like real meat?
Yes, like we saw, like when I was at BK, we saw that there was a clear segment that was growing around what we call flexitarians. I am flexitarian. Like I eat beef, just as an example, right? Depending on the protein, is different motivations. But let's talk about beef. So I eat beef, but I always try to incorporate a little bit of plant-based beef on my diet because I felt it was healthier, because I felt it was better for the planet, and all that good stuff. So this is actually much more developed in Europe, I would say, than in the US. But in the US, it was growing. So we did a market test with Impossible Foods when I was at RBI. It tested really well, and the product is still in the marketplace today. NotCo, in fact, has, I think, 9 different countries with Burger King across Latin America.
Is that right?
We have Brazil, Chile, Mexico. No, not Mexico yet, but like we have like 9 different countries where we are partners from Burger King. And when I said like different proteins will have different motivations, is because, for instance, in milk, most people who buy plant-based are lactose intolerant, right? I mean, so it's not necessarily, it's different than the flexitarian space. And when NotCo was created, right, when NotCo was born, Matthias, who is one of the founders, he felt that the food industry was rather inefficient, and that by using AI, we would be able to shorten the development times. And it's insane how much shorter it is from a regular CPG, and that we would be able to create better food, you know, like in a much more efficient way. So that's why NotCo partners with Kraft Heinz and Shake Shack and Burger King and Joe's Coffee and Daily Provisions and so many brands, because we're able to create a product in a much shorter period of time with better taste. Taste is one of the key barriers, the key barrier for people not to consume. So it needs to taste great. Like people who are flexitarians are not willing to trade off. It's very different than vegan. Yeah. You know, like the vegan, like the percentage of sales that we sell to vegans is actually small. Like my vegan friends, they don't eat plant-based beef. They stopped eating beef 10, 20 years ago. Yeah. They don't like the taste anymore, you know. Yeah. So it's more like the flexitarian market.
Yeah, I consider myself a flexitarian. I do enjoy a nice steak every once in a while, but it's rare. Yeah, it's very few and far between, and I like the plant-based foods and alternatives. So I'm looking forward to trying some NotCo.
Try the chicken.
Foods.
The chicken is really awesome.
The chicken,
like well, each person will have a different like preference in terms of products.
So can I get NotCo in a Publix, or do I have to go somewhere else?
I think soon enough you will be able to. It's rolling out on Publix. We are on Whole Foods. You can find us on Amazon. Like in New York and I think Florida, it's pretty like good distribution already. But we should be soon enough on Publix too.
All right, that's great. Well, we've got a Whole Foods in St. Pete right now, so I'm gonna go check it out over the weekend.
I think you have Not Burger, you have Not Milk there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go try that out.
Yeah.
The other thing that my big takeaway from this whole thing, because my wife might actually watch this, is that the big TV is always the better TV.
As long as you don't bother with the fingerprints at the corner.
Big TV is always better. Fernando Machado said it. It must be true.
Especially if you like watching soccer.
Yeah. Yes. And F1.
Yes.
Go Ferrari.
I'm with Hamilton, so.
Okay. Well, I'm always rooting for the underdog, and my wife's Italian, and we love Ferrari. So, yeah. Well, it's been great spending some time with you, Fernando.
Yes.
Yeah,
no,
great.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Great chat.
Yeah.
And Innovators, guys. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Brand Innovators. Rock on.